Procedures weren't followed, decisions were delayed, responsibility was passed from one department to another. Even more troubling, several officers connected to the case had personal ties to King's Cross nightlife and property figures. Some were known to socialize with nightclub owners. Others had relationships with developers who stood to profit from redevelopment. Yet none of this triggered internal alarms. No serious internal investigation was launched. No officers were suspended. No disciplinary action was taken. Instead, the case slowly lost momentum. Leads went cold. Witnesses stopped returning calls. Files were quietly closed. Behind the scenes, journalists began uncovering disturbing connections between organized crime, real estate interests, and elements within law enforcement. King's Cross in the 1970s was not just a nightlife district, it was a hub for illegal gambling, drug trafficking, and prostitution. Money flowed freely, and protection was often bought. Multiple sources claimed certain police units were providing cover for criminal operations in exchange for cash and favors. Juanita had been investigating these connections. Now her disappearance was being handled by the same system she had been exposing. Years later, judicial inquiries attempted to reconstruct what went wrong. Judges reviewed testimony. They examined police reports. They listened to witnesses who had been ignored in 1975. Their conclusions were damning. They found evidence of serious investigative failures. They confirmed that critical leads had not been followed. They acknowledged that corruption within law enforcement had likely interfered with the case. But despite these findings, no one was charged. No arrests were made. No officers were held accountable. Several key files were reported missing. Important documents could not be located. Some witnesses were never formally re-interviewed. Others had died. The official explanation was bureaucratic failure, but many observers believed it was something far darker, a deliberate effort to prevent the truth from emerging. Careers were protected, reputations were preserved, and Juanita's case remained unresolved. For her family and supporters, the message was devastating. The system responsible for finding her had become part of the problem. Justice was no longer just delayed, it was being quietly denied. What began as a missing persons case had transformed into a symbol of institutional collapse, a reminder of what happens when those tasked with enforcing the law are compromised. By the time the investigations reached their final stages, public trust had already